come to a comfortable seat now. I'm muting you all. And, oh, I didn't put up my chakra chart, so I apologize, but the color green is the color of this energy center. And the air is the element. So we're starting to get a little bit more subtle in our experiences. So move your sitting bones. And with your hands, take them to your rib cage and take a big inhale and just lift up with your entire rib cage. You might even feel like you're shrugging your shoulders a little bit, but then drop shoulder blades onto your back and release your arms down. Trying to keep a little bit of that lift that you just created, an opening through the heart. And now if you would like to, you can take the mudra here of the bottoms of the palms coming together, pinkies and thumbs coming together, and then opening up with the rest of your fingers into this lotus flower at the heart. And as you take a couple big breaths, you can allow your eyes to close if it's comfortable and begin to bring your awareness to that expansion and contraction around the heart space. The affirmation for this chakra, for this energy center is, I open my heart to fully living. You can say it to yourself, you can think it, or you can simply listen to it. I open my heart to fully living. I'm going to connect palms together in Anjali Mudra or prayer position. Take a big inhale and sit a little taller. Exhale and bow towards your heart. And then softly letting your eyes open, release your hands down and take hands to your low back, to that upper glute area, and press down. And as you lift up and open through your heart space, think of starting to engage your shoulder blades onto your back, and hugging your elbows back. Take a big inhale and lift up through the front ribs, the collarbones. Exhale, start to engage the core. Low belly and ribs draw in, supporting the back body. Take another full inhale. Lift up even higher, and then exhale, release that lift, walk your hands out in front, and press back with your spine into your cat-like pose. Chin tucks in, and then add a little bit of movement through your sides, through your shoulders, your hips. Just checking out how the back body feels. And then inhale, sit tall. Take right ear over to your right shoulder. Big movements of your left shoulder. Roll your shoulder down your back a few times as you keep your head tilted over to the side. Inhale back up to center and exhale left ear to left shoulder. Same thing, big movements of your right shoulder down your back. And then back into center now, hands behind to clasp this time, press palms together. And as you lift up and open through the shoulders, think of that engagement of shoulder blades, the hug of the elbows back. Lift the ribs, lift the collarbones, lengthen the back of your neck. So you're not dropping your head back per se, but instead creating that length. Take a full big deep breath and use your exhales to help you support your back body here. Engage the core, low belly and ribs draw in. Then inhale all the way back upright. We're going to take arms up overhead on the next inhale. Clasp your hands or keep your arms separate if that's better for your shoulders. But then side to side sway, allowing a little more length through the back, through the sides. And then back into center, little bit of a back bend here. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart. Broaden tops of shoulders. As you engage your shoulder blades on your back, you're also engaging through the low belly and the ribs to support your back body. Take one more big inhale and lift your front ribs. Exhale, release your hands down, walk your hands forward, maybe bringing your hands onto a block here, but then take a little counter pose, rounding back through your spine into a cat-like pose, chin tucks in. Take a full, big, deep breath. Then inhale, rising back up, switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones. And then with your hands pressing down into your upper thighs, into your hip creases, lengthen through your sides, lift up through your heart, draw shoulder blades onto your back. Now keep the left hand pressing down, creating that left hand pressing down, creating that space on your left side. Lift your right arm up and over. And as you take that reach up and over, you're still creating lift through the left side. So press into the hip, lift through your ribs, and then just a gentle turn down with your right shoulder, reaching a little in that diagonal. Inhale, come all the way back up to center, and release your right hand down to your upper thigh and press. And as you press, create space, lift up taller, and then reach left arm up and over. Full big breath, feel the ribs expanding. And then a little turn down through the left shoulder, a little reach and a little diagonal toward the left side. Inhale, back upright, release your hands. And now gratitude, one more pose before we start to move a little bit more, elbows hung in. Open up through the heart space as you draw your thumbs back, feel your shoulder blades engage. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Take a full big deep breath. Fill the front and the back of your heart space. And then releasing your hands down, we're shifting forward onto our hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we'll do a little firing up of the core here. But first, rotate elbow pits forward and push. So you're expanding into that space around the back of the heart. A little tilt up with your sitting bones so your belly drops down just a tiny bit. Engage the belly. Think of the low belly engaging through the muscles even as you have that tilt of your pelvis. Engage the low ribs, drawing them up into the back body. Keep that, reach the right leg back, the left arm forward. And you can always have toes or fingertips on the ground here, but lift through the side waist. Take a full big breath. Push through your standing hand and let that push lift your ribs up. Expand into the heart space in the back. Take a full big deep breath. And exhale, hands down and knees down. Pause, find that rotation of the upper arm bones again and push. Expanding into the upper back, expanding with the ribs into the back body. Tilt your sitting bones up so your belly drops a little down. Engage the low belly. Engage the low glutes. Begin to reach back with your left leg. Right arm reaches forward. And again, remember, toes or fingertips can always come to the ground, but lift your side waist, and even more so, use that push of your left hand to help your ribs lift and help you fill into your heart space in the back. Full breath. Exhale, both hands come down, both knees come down. Big toes together, knees wide, settle hips back towards your heels as you let your belly and your heart settle toward the ground. Your head can rest here if it's comfortable. Take a big deep breath. And now inhale, rise up to your hands and knees and step right foot forward in between your hands. Blocks under your hands if you would like. Tuck your back toes and work it back as far as you need. And then lift up with your chest. From here, you can have hands at your knee. You can have hands at your hips, but ultimately we're getting a longer stretch through the psoas muscle, that muscle that tends to affect the low back a lot. So center with hips, push down with your back knee behind you so your hips stay a little elevated, but also bend into your front knee. As you lift your chest, your heart, also engage the core. Low belly and ribs draw in. If you want, you can stretch, or if it feels better to come to gratitude, you can, but take a big, deep breath. Exhaling, both hands come back down to the front of your mat, and you'll switch sides. Step your right knee back, step your left foot forward. Work your back knee back as far as you need, and then come up as high as you need. Hands on your knee, hands can stay at your block, hands come to your hips, whatever that looks like for you. Wrap your left hip back. Push down with your back knee and bend deeper into your front knee. Lift up higher through your heart and then engage low belly and ribs, supporting the back body, maybe stretch up. Full breath. Exhaling, hands come all the way down to the front of your mat. And now we're going to step back onto hands and knees and step into a downward facing dog pose if that's in your practice. Rotate elbow pits forward, toes tuck, lift hips. Take a big deep breath. Look just about in between your hands, maybe a little bit less forward than that, and push from your heart through your hands. Send your sitting bones further up and take another full big deep breath. And now inhale, come forward into a plank pose. And from your plank pose, push. You can always have knees on the ground here. So either toes and knees push and hands push, filling into the back body. And in particular, notice that lift around the back side of the heart. Take a full big deep breath. Exhale, downward facing dog pose, full breath. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way, long through the spine. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips, press back on hips, lift up with shoulders and elbows, and rise all the way up. Okay, so now we're going to take a little back bend from standing, and we're either going to make fists at our low back, or you can work toward hands, either with fingers moving outward or toward moving upward, up toward your shoulder blades with fingertips. You get to find what feels the best in your body. Sometimes that's a big stretch through the forearms. So now, as you find that place for yourself, lift up and open through the shoulders, little bend to your knees, rotate inner thighs back, and then engage. Low glutes and belly, ribs draw in. As you inhale and lift up a little higher with your heart, think of ribs and collarbones lifting up. Bring your neck in line with your spine, as opposed to dropping it back or tilting it forward. You can always tilt it forward if you've got neck stuff going on. Take a big deep breath. Your inhales help you to push down and lift your heart. Your exhales help you engage through the core. Now inhale, rise all the way back up. Hands to your hips, little bend to your knees. Push your hips back, your heart forward, and fold. And remember, a forward fold can look like elbows at the knee or hands at the thighs. So it doesn't have to be folding all the way over your legs. Take a full big inhale, tilt sitting bones up, extend your heart further, and exhale, fold as far as your body needs. And now plant fingertips, stepping your right foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips, and inhale, rise all the way up, coming to this lifted lunge place. From that place, arms can be lifted, arms can be at gratitude, or you can clasp your hands behind your back. You choose. Center with your hips, settle a little further into that front knee, and then engage through the core. Lift your ribs, your chest, your heart. Exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat. And then step all the way back, plank pose. Knees can come to the ground here if you want, but push. Extend your heart forward. Take a deep breath. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. And plant your fingertips, step your left foot back into your lunge, and inhale, rise up. As you rise up, lift your chest, center your hips, and then find the variation for your arms that feels the best. Arms lift, arms at gratitude, clasp your hands. Find lots of lift through your ribs, your chest, your heart, and engage through the core. Low belly and ribs draw in. Take another big inhale and exhale to engage one more time. Then next exhale, hands come down to the front of your mat and step all the way back. Hands and knees or down dog, your choice. Take a moment for a full breath. And now, coming all the way into a child's pose for just a couple breaths. Think about shifting and moving through your hips. Your hips are moving back toward your heels. They don't have to come to your heels. But take a big breath and notice what's going on through your low back, through your ribs, through your hips, whatever's there. Okay, so now we're going to take a variation here of our wild thing pose. And we're going to take the modification first, and then that's where you can stay if you would like. So rise up to your hands and knees. And you can have something underneath your knees if you would like. But now you're going to turn your left leg so that your toes are off to the left side, off of your mat. And then come to balance on your left hand. Your right leg extends back behind you as you turn your torso toward the right side. From this place, pause and look at your left hand and push down. Put your left shoulder blade on your back. Now, you can stay right here and lift your arm up, or your right leg is going to back itself up to the left side. And as you back it up to the left side, you'll start to turn through your torso a little bit more into a back bend, and then maybe stretch your right arm over your ear. This is our variation here of our wild thing. Take a big deep breath and tone through the low belly, tone through the low ribs, and exhale, hands down, knees down, come back into center. You can settle your hips back and give your wrists a break, especially if that left one is bothering you at all. You can always rotate through your wrists or just move through your fingers. And then second side, from your hands and knees, find that rotation of upper arm bones and push to find that expansion into the back body. That push is something that we get to keep as we turn. So right foot turns. You might have to, I know I have to adjust myself to make space. Right foot turns to your toes and your knee turns so your toes are off your mat. Come to balance, facing the left side. Left leg is straight back behind you for now. Look first at your right hand and push down more, so much that you lift up a little bit out of your shoulder. Shoulder blades on your back. As you turn open, you can stay right here and stretch up, or back your left foot up behind you a little ways to be able to turn more open and maybe stretch left arm up and over your ear. Full big deep breath wherever that is. Oops, I'm knocking things over. And then exhale, hands down, knee down, and then settle back into your child's pose. Full big breath. And now you can come to that same variation if you want to, or we're going to do it one more time and you can come to the plank variation of wild thing. So I'll turn sideways so you can see. But your choice, you can start from hands and knees, or you can step back into your plank. And if you're stepping back into your plank, then we're turning left foot to the side. So your toes are aiming toward the right. And then right foot steps behind you to the left. And then you're turning your belly and your heart more open toward the ceiling, and maybe stretch back with your right arm. Full big deep breath as you put shoulder blades on your back. Engage the low belly and the ribs. Push through your feet and maybe extend your heart further forward. Exhale, come all the way back around to your hands and knees, and then child's pose. So again, you can come to this wild thing variation, or you can come to this plank wild thing, okay? So second side, your choice. You can do this from your hands and knees, turning your right toes out, or step back into your plank and turn your right foot so your toes are aimed to the left. And from that place, you can step left foot behind you and start to turn your belly and your heart more open to the ceiling, and then maybe reach. Top arm up and over. Full big breath. Push down with your feet. Engage your shoulder blades. Engage your low belly and your ribs. Exhale, back around. And then settle onto your knees, hips back. Turn palms up if you would like, settling into your child's pose. And then gently push yourself up to your seat. And from your seat, we're going to come right down onto our back. We'll come to, in a second, we'll come to laying over our bolster. So we'll have to sit up again, or a pillow, whichever you have. But lay all the way down. And from this place, we're going to get a little more glute stretch in. So first things first, we'll take left ankle over the right knee and lift the legs up toward your torso. As far as is right for your body, it might be plenty of stretch to keep your foot on the ground. So wherever that is for you, take a moment for a full breath. And even think of tilting sitting bones down. For me, that adds a considerable amount of stretch through the glutes, through connections, but it might not for you. Let's see if that tilt of the sitting bones can help you lessen the press of the low back into the ground. And now go ahead and set right foot on the ground and left foot on the ground, and then switch the cross. Right ankle over the left knee, feet flex, and then draw the legs in as close as your body is ready for. That activation of the feet also helps the stretch a little bit sometimes, but find that tilt of the pelvis so your sitting bones are moving more downward. And take another big, deep breath. Okay, and left foot comes down and right foot comes down. So now cross the left thigh over the right and lift the legs up towards you as close as your body is ready for. And again, you can always stay right with your foot on the ground. You do not have to bring your legs in toward your chest. If your legs are moving toward your chest, you can always take a hold of your knees and maybe give a little hug, or you can slide your hands down your shins and start to draw them out to the side. Flex your feet here. Maybe start to hold on to ankles. You might hold on to your feet. And as you flex your feet and draw your legs in, think about tilting sitting bones down. And then gently release, Try not to pating your legs away from you. That's my technical term. Foot to the ground or feet to the ground. You have two of them. And then cross, right thigh over the left. You can stay right here. Sometimes this is plenty of sensation. Or start to pick your legs up towards you. Maybe you hold your knees and draw your legs in a little bit closer. Maybe you don't. It's okay. Hands to your knees if that's there for you. Maybe slip your hands down your shins toward your ankles. This side's always tighter for me. So you get to notice what's present there for you. You might start to draw legs up toward level with each other or shins. Flexing the feet. Take a couple big breaths and try tilting the sitting bones down. And then gently release, one foot at a time. Okay, so now roll over to the side and grab whatever you're using for a pillow or bolster. And again, you can always take a couple of blocks and put them together with a blanket over it if you don't have a pillow or bolster. Whatever you happen to have, we're going to take this variation of a heart opener where we're sitting on our bolster or pillow. So you may have to put a couple with each other. We're going to sit right on the very edge and then lay over the bolster. So our shoulders are coming toward the ground, our head is coming toward the ground, and then slip your shoulders a little further toward the ground so you have a little lift to the ribs and the heart space. From this place, you can lengthen your legs all the way out if you want to. You can take knees dropping in together to touch, or you can take more of a butterfly, really deciding here what feels the best in your body, knowing that if this doesn't feel good in the body, you can always come all the way out of it or come to a different variation. As you take a few more breaths here, you can even notice for yourself, if this position feels comfortable enough to rest for a while, then you can stay for Shavasana. If there's some tension somewhere in this posture, then maybe take about 5 more breaths and shift to a comfortable resting pose. And if you are going to shift to a comfortable resting pose, then rolling off to the side is a good way to go about that. And then you can move your prop out from underneath. And then prop in any way that feels really good for you to be able to rest. Start to find your Shavasana. As you find your Shavasana, take a few moments to find your breath. And to find some settling. Begin to take a deeper breath. Bring some awareness and movement to your fingers and to your toes. When you're ready, bend your knees and roll to your side. And then slowly, gently press yourself back up to your seat. Connect hands together at heart center. And take another moment in time for a full breath. Have a very peaceful and beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.